At this junction, many followers and supporters of Nnamdi Kanu and everybody that believe what he's agitating for is curious, and they have several questions they want to ask the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Oftentimes, there have been several court arraignments and several court judgments has been passed on several occasions. And with some of these court proceedings and court announcement has been in one way or the other in favor of Nnamdi Kanu. And the questions still remain the same. Why is Nnamdi Kanu still kept in DSS custody? And why has the Federal Republic of Nigeria yet to release him? These are many more questions and what several of his supporters is asking, and they want answers to. Yes, in Nigeria, there's a particular event that is being held every year, very important and very significant, and it's being held the first day of October every year. And during this event, there are several things that will actually take place all across the country, all across all the 36 states in Nigeria. But there is something that makes this event very significant, and that is the pardon. I mean, either the presidential pardon or pardon from each of those state governors. Pardoning people who has been charged with different offenses and giving them the freedom they've always desired. But this time around 2025, October 1st, people were expecting that Nnamdi Kanu will be given the presidential pardon that he needs. But this time, even with all of what was said by the president, nothing of such was mentioned. So everybody was very curious and they were shocked. They were who then is going to save Nnamdi Kanu? Because at this junction, several of his supporters and several of his followers are very, very curious. And they want to know the fate of their leader and agitator. Oftentimes, many people are of the opinion that why not Nnamdi Kanu just die down and just die all of his agitation and just give up on the Biafran nation? Does it mean that if he actually give up on the Biafran nation, Nigeria government may forgive him, or what are you thinking about this? Yeah, several of his supporters and several Biafrans are taking it upon themselves one more time to protest for the release of their leader, Nnamdi Kanu. From Anambra to Enugu to Abia to Ebonyi, just to mention a few of the southeastern states in Nigeria, where this protest will be continually engaged until their leader finds justice and is finally released. Guys, without bothering you too much and without wasting too much of your time, let's dive into the video I have for you today about Nnamdi Kanu. Yes, as we speak, he's sick. He said he needs urgent medical attention. And let's just wait and see what will be the end of all of this agitation and all of the protests towards his release, guys. Like, share, and subscribe.
Yes, we are here to demand the unconditional release of Nnamdi Kanu. His continuous stay in detention is unacceptable by all of us. An injury to one is injury to all. We will not accept this again. Courts of competent jurisdiction have granted him bail, and we don't know why the federal government is still keeping him in detention. This is an injustice, and an injustice to one is injustice to all. So what do we want?
Release Kanu.
What do we want?
Release Kanu.
Thank you very much.
Aba in Abia State, Biafra land. This is a rally holding today in the honor of our director, Nnamdi Kanu, protesting, asking Nigerian government to release him unconditionally, as the court has already said. No further delay. All these young people are protesting, asking Nigerian government to release Nnamdi Kanu.
Good evening, sir. My name is Iboko, and I report for Vanguard Newspapers. Your Excellency, yesterday, elders from different states in the southeast stormed Abia Government House, protesting the continued detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who has been seeking justice for Ndi Igbo. And their message was to plead with you to prevail, to get across to your brother governors in the southeast to prevail on Mr. President to consider releasing Nnamdi Kanu, more especially considering the fact that up north, so many local governments, as we speak, in Katsina State in particular, have signed an agreement, peace deal, with bandits who are mass murderers. How come that Igbo elite, more especially our governors, are not doing something towards that? In Enugu early this year, when Mr. President visited, Igbo leaders missed that opportunity to, as a group, ask for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's release. Glad enough, you've told us that on Friday, Mr. President will be coming to Abia, and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is from Abia State. I hope Ndabia will not miss yet another opportunity to, as a people, ask for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Steve Oko, you asked a question about the detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And your question is a good question. We have been engaging on the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. But the level at which we are engaging and the discussions that have happened and the assurances that have been received are not for public consumption, since it may hurt or derail the process. But you can take it for granted that as his governor, I'm in the forefront of ensuring that he comes back home. And all the Southeast governors are in tandem. So we are discussing it.
Now, I think the very first one is, he said that the statement made by the witnesses, the witnesses were actually covered because of security purposes. They were covered, only their names and their office, but you can't tell their face, you can't tell who they are. So they were covered. All the witnesses called by the prosecution, all the witnesses called by the federal government, none of them were able to answer a direct question. If you ask them a direct question upon how they obtained their evidence, they will tell you either I don't know or I was not there. So what it means is that they tendered a statement without proper investigation. All the allegations, none of them were investigated. So this is one of the grounds upon which the no case submission was filed. There's also what we call probative value. Okay, any document you are tendering in a court of law, before that document must have a weight, you understand, to give you a win or a loss. It must have what we call probative value. Probative value is what we call weight. Does it have weight? Does it prove anything? Does it contain the substance of justice? Okay, if it does not contain any substance of justice, it lacks no probative value. So Agabi is also saying that all their evidence and all their witnesses lacks no probative value. Now, third, he said that no person was presented in the court who the federal government can say was incited by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. No person, no name was mentioned. Not in the north, not in the south, nowhere in Nigeria did the federal government present somebody a physical living being who can say, I was incited by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu broadcast, by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu statement, or anything done by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So these are some of those ones. He went further to say that the proscription of the organization called IPOB, okay, the Federal Ministry of Justice filed a gazette where IPOB was proscribed, okay, outlawing IPOB. That very gazette lacked presidential approval. The president never approved it. There should be a document approving IPOB. So he said that it was not approved, okay. Now, when you come to the other side, you find out that when they filed the first charge against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, they also amended that charge and filed a subsequent one. That subsequent one upon which Mazi Nnamdi Kanu took his plea. When it means taking a plea, are you guilty or not guilty or guilty? That very very charge was not filed before the honorable court, and they went ahead and predicated and based on their trial, based on a charge sheet that was not filed before the court. The lawyer for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu also went ahead to state that what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu did was to ask his people, the Southeasterners, the Igbos, to defend themselves because of the invasion of the Fulani headsmen and the terrorists. That was all he did. And he went ahead to play a video in court where the former head of state, during the time of Gowon, you know, when not Gowon, there was this former head of state that was asking Nigerians to defend themselves, and also the former, the current police head was on air asking Nigerians to take up arms and defend themselves because of insecurity. So he also said that T.Y. Danjuma told Nigerians to defend themselves, and also the current IGP told Nigerians also to defend themselves. Last but not the least, they tendered NSAS report. You understand that it was Mazi Nnamdi Kanu that incited NSAS. But when they came to court, they were unable to link any activity of NSAS to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So the whole report of NSAS, which they tendered against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, is so laughable. So these are the few points on that 13 points that Agabi listed that predicated him to file a no case submission, because a no case submission simply means that this man has no case to answer.
Excellent. You have not analysis, but actually you've hammered on those points and greatly established.